Hey guys, Club Carrot here, and today we're going to be showing you how we make our frames for our bee boxes. And see here we've got our sides here, and they'll be going on the side of the frame. The top, it's got a bit of a slit to put the wax foundation, which we'll show you that later. And the bottom here, which has got also a little slit. And so now we're just putting these eyelets in. So when we thread the wire through to keep the wax foundation on, this will keep it from cutting through the wood. You don't have to do this, but it does make your wire tighter, and you can pull it tighter so that it's better for the wax, and the bees like it a bit more. So yeah.
I'll just do a few of these, and we'll start the assembly.
Yeah, a bit of an assembly line.
We use a wood glue, so like an aqua
just
gear.
PVA glue or do the job. And then of course nail it in with a nail gun to make it so that it doesn't fall to bits when you're pulling it out. Alright, so I think we can start assembling them here. We've got a few with some eyelets in them. So if we just grab one of these tops and we grab some of our glue here, we can sort of put a bit of glue on, put that on, and stick our sides on.
Making sure the eyelets are on the outside.
Yeah, you can put the eyelets in after you've made the frames, but yeah, it's up to you.
I think it's just a little bit less fiddly if you put them on before.
Yeah.
Because they can have a tendency to fall out. It's going to be a little bit painful.
Alright.
Okay, so that's basically an assembled frame. What we need now is a few nails.
Yeah.
So we'll be using our brad nailer. Get these bigger nails out. And we'll be using, where are they? 20, I think, 25s.
Okay, this one's
what millimetres are they? 25s. So if you're not sure, just measure the depth of the wood. So you can sort of see it's going to go through that top one and into the other side part of the frame. These might be a little bit big. I think 20s would probably be better, because once we get to this side, she's almost going to nail all the way through. So we can use a 15mm nail for the edges of this side bit into the bottom, and a 20 or a 25 for the tops.
Yeah.
So we'll do the tops and the very under part of the bottom first. Okay, so we'll put 2 in the top. Take your time, try and get it central so it doesn't poke the nail out through the side.
You want to try and make them as sturdy as you can, because they're going to have maybe like 3 kilos of honey when you're taking them out when they're ready. So you want to make them as sturdy and strong so they're not going to fall apart.
Yeah, you've got to remember that the bees are going to be sticking these frames. Once they've got the foundation on them, the bees are going to put a little bit of wax in between the frames, and they'll be stuck down in the box, so they're actually quite tight to get out. When you get your hive tool into the edge here and you're prying it up, over time this may lift off and it'll damage all the comb. So that's why we actually side nail these side bits, just for added strength. You might as well do it properly at the start and spend a little bit more time on it.
Yeah.
And then you won't regret it later, so that's the theory.
Just like the eyelets too.
Okay, so we just need our 15mm nails. Are they under the bench there, Pip?
some 16.
They're staples.
Yeah, you don't want to be using staples. You just use nails for these frames.
Get rid of them. We've got a few 15mm ones here. Load that up. Okay, now we need sideways. It's always good to do it with the second person. It can be done on your own, but it's definitely handy for someone to be flipping these around. A lot less time consuming. And there you have it. So there's your assembled frame without the wire and wax. So for the wire,
alright,
we'll fully make one so you get the idea, and then you know where. So now what we do, this is another little technique we've got a couple of nails and a small hammer. So whichever end you're going to start threading from, you put 2 nails. If it's a full depth frame, you've got 4 eyelets. So it can change. So we half nail in 2 nails.
yep,
And then we get this wire. Okay, you want to pull a heap out for me?
yep.
Try not to let the wire go over the spool because it'll twist and it can kink. If you get a kink, it can have a tendency to break.
Yeah.
So we'll just put that down. I'll start threading it from the first nail at the top.
You can do it from any nail, but you have to just do it from the side with the nails.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll pull a bunch out here.
Hold it, hold it. As you can see here, we've got a bit of a kink here. It's not what you want. So it's one of those things that you got to take your time. You don't want too much discrepancy. Keep going, keep going. You can always pull it back through, which we will anyway. Okay.
Thread through again, the next one. It'll help if you can get your eyelets to be in there fairly tight, otherwise this process can be a bit tedious when you're trying to thread the thing through and they keep popping out. So if you can get them any tighter, or not pre-drill your holes, which we did try but they were just falling out too much, so we can just press them in.
And I mean, the tools that we're using as well, you know, we've got the nail gun. It's not totally necessary. You can hand nail a lot of this. Obviously it's going to take a bit more time and it's a bit more fiddly if you're using small nails for the side nails. Okay, so I've twitched that wire around probably about 8 times.
Make sure it's in there really good.
Now I'm using a pair of pliers.
I'll
You'll pull it from one end.
Okay.
And then just make sure it doesn't twist up.
Alright, pull
Get
that
the
out.
excess here. So what I'll do, I just pull it fairly tight. I don't want to pull it too tight because it can actually stretch the wire or snap it. So what I'll do, I pull it and then with my thumb I crimp it over and then we can pull the excess through this way. And I'm holding that with my thumb and I'll pull the excess back through the last hole. Once we've got a hold of that, I'll get my pliers onto here again and I gently give it a good
Tug.
tug, twitch it up with my thumb, I'm holding it still and I wrap a good amount around this nail. Side cutters, snip it, wrap the rest around. It can be a little bit sharp, that wire at times, so just be careful. Okay, and now what we do here, so basically we get a sheet of wax and we're going to embed.
Now you can buy these wax foundations from most online stores and stuff.
Yep.
They're about $2 a sheet. So
$2 Australian each. Can be fairly expensive, but you know, it's a small price to pay to be involved in beekeeping.
yeah.
So what we do here, we put it in that recess at the top because the bees tend to like to draw from the top down. If they want to stick, you can see there's a bit of a gap, so we'll just...
So
we've got the nails on this side also. You want to have the wax on this side where the nails are poking up, because we're going to be pushing down on this when we hook these clamps up.
And we just got a battery charger.
Yeah, we're just using a 12 volt battery charger. Don't know if you can see that. So it is safe. So you make sure that's actually up into the recess, and then your even spacing. Sometimes you can have a bit of a gap, so I generally try and make it evenly spaced on the sides, the wax, and there's probably about a 5mm gap on the bottom of the frame there. So we've got that ready. I generally like to spread my fingers and my hands as much as I can, get a bit of pressure all across all 4 wires, and then someone will stand on the switch.
Yeah.
And you can turn that on now. Now that's going to slowly heat this wire, these 4 wires up, and that'll embed into the wax. So you've got to be careful you don't push too hard, you don't want it to break or cut through. It can happen, it doesn't really matter. You can always push it back and line it up again. The bees will fix all that up. So get it even pressure all the way around. You can move your hands around a little bit. You get to the point, you can sort of see the wire come to the surface. I can feel a bit of heat. Okay, that's enough. I'll hold it at that. Wait a few seconds, let it cool down a bit before you start mucking around with it. Take the little clamps off, and then you have a look. If you look into the sun, don't know if you can see that on the camera, but right across here it's embedded really well, and you can see just a little line crossing the wire all the way across. This one here, just about here, you can see it hasn't actually embedded into the wax, but the rest of the wire's fine. A little bit here missing, and the rest is pretty good, but that's fine. You don't have to overthink it. The bees will basically draw this comb all the way out and you won't see that wire. But the reason we do this is so when you're lifting full frames out of your beehive, doing an inspection, there's more structure to that to hold it together so it doesn't crumble and just fall out on the ground. You can use foundationless frames. Once again, you just got to be careful when you're doing inspections, and you know, then it's great. You can actually harvest honeycomb. So now we just hammer these nails down. You can either punch them all the way in. I like to bend them over. Now this bottom end of the frame, because you've got a bit of a recess, if you can see this, it sort of tapers in on the bottom of the frame. So the nails sticking out here, you can hammer them down, it's not too bad. When you get up to here, in the box, they're going to be sitting like that. So if you've got a little bit of a nail hanging out, you're going to have a bit of a gap, and the bees will basically fill that up with wax, or you won't be able to squeeze your 10 frames into your box. So this top nail here, I really like to hammer that down as much as I can. So I'll just push this one all the way in straight so you can see the difference. So, okay, now that's split. I probably wrapped a few too many times of wire. It's split this side frame. Not critical, once again, it'll be fine. But yeah, if you want to be fussy, that's the first one I've actually split.
Yeah.
Out of
probably 50 frames.
or more.
Easy.
Yeah. So anyway, that's how to put together a frame, wire it up, embed it. Here you can see where we pulled the wire. It hasn't cut into the wood. If you don't have the eyelets, it has a tendency to sort of gouge into the wood, and it's hard to get good tension on it. So that's a frame that will last a fair while. No worries, thanks for watching, and I hope that's been informative.
See ya.
See ya.